TT star of the future, Davey Todd, is a former Subway sandwich artist, and Manxman Conor Cummins owns an expanding fleet of coffee shops and pizzerias here in Ramsey on the Isle of Man. This year they're teammates with the Padgetts team, so I thought I'd join them for a cup of Conor's finest and a quick chat.
Well, it'd be, mate.
I'll have an espresso and can you do me a cortado?
No problem. Take a seat, I'll bring it over.
Cheers, pal. How are we doing, Davey?
All right, mate.
So what have we got here?
Oat milk cappuccino with hazelnut. It's a Davey Todd speciality.
This is a regular thing for you, is it?
Absolutely, yeah, top of the line.
Okay, well I'm gonna have a sip and then we should get into some questions. Oh yeah, that's factory, yeah.
Tell me that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Have you been all right?
Really good, thanks, mate, yeah. Yeah, living the dream as always.
Yeah. We're gonna get these questions done before those coffees are empty. So I'm gonna jump straight in and ask you what your earliest TT memory is.
My earliest TT memory is in not actually being at the TT. So I remember going to watch DJ at a supermoto race. My dad took me to Croft, I think, to watch a supermoto race.
On a CRF?
I think so. I think he must have been on CRF at the time. And he ended up winning that day. I'm sure he had a bright pink helmet on. Yeah. And he ended up winning that day. And after then I was like a bit of a DJ fan. Yeah. And then remember him going to the TT after that and destroying everybody, I think, at the time. And yeah, definitely that was my earliest thing I can remember. I've been like, well, the Isle of Man TT and getting a whole idea of what it's all about.
Well, I think you showed everybody what it was all about when you made your debut here with that newcomer lap in 2018, 128.4, I think it was.
Going really, really well. As number 80 comes through, that's Davey Todd.
I think DJ and John and that era of TT races all come from the school of thought where you need to come here for 4 years and just ride the place before you even think about pushing. You did 128 in your first year and 131 a year after, 134.4. That's definitely not waiting 4 years before you push.
It really is. Honestly, that's not pushing it. It's not being big-headed or anything like that. Like,
is it off the back of the rider development program with Milky and Johnny, do you think, or?
Honestly, that helps so much. It's really they're unbelievable what they do. The TT organisation team in supporting newcomers to come to the Isle of Man TT is incredible. Genuinely, they do no end of help to coming over and learning the course as a newcomer. I wanted to make sure I knew it as well as I possibly could and took every measure I possibly could to know it as well as I could and come to the TT in 2018 for my first time and be fully prepared.
When did that start for you? When did the build-up training start?
2017. 2017 TT, I came to the TT for the first time in my life. I'd never been before 2017.
Really?
And
that's cool.
I'm sure you've heard the story before of like I'm working for an insurance company at the time and I convinced them I would sell so much insurance if they sent me to the Isle of Man TT. So they paid for my flight and I came over.
Did you sell any?
I did not sell one bit. And yeah, just fell in love with the TT at that point. I stood at the top of Bray Hill and thought, watch some guys come by. And,
mind blown.
No, completely mind blown. This is insane. This is exactly what I want to do.
Was that pre-Skerries or post-Skerries? Because that was the year you made your roads debut.
I think Skerries, if I'm not mistaken, is just after. It's just after the TT. So
you came home fizzing from the TT and went, right, I need to find a road race.
Yeah, pretty much. Just spoke to a few people then. From then on, had some contacts and got the offer to go do some Irish road racing and Paul Phillips came up at the time and he gave me a call and said, look, we'd like you, we've seen what you're capable of, we'd like you to come straight to the TT. I was thinking obviously I'd have to go to the Manx first, like everybody does, and he said, we'd like you to come straight to the TT and we'll help you to do that.
What do you think they saw in you?
I think
128.4 mile newcomer.
Honestly, I don't know. Obviously, I'd raced BSB before, just one season in 2016 in Superstock 600 and won 2 races. So I'd sort of proved I can ride a bike to a decent standard, and then after doing a couple of races like Skerries, I think it went from there to show that I can do the roads and I'm safe. Like I'm not a crasher or anything. So I think that was a big part of it.
Yeah, and then obviously, like I say, within in your second year of asking here, you're in the top 10 in the senior, and you're banging in 131.494, I think, and Honda snapped you up.
Yeah, it's honestly for that it was insane for me. That lap time, it blew my mind. It actually blew my mind when I first come in from the senior. The team had told me I'd done a 130, which I did earlier in the race. And I was over the moon because it was a tough week. It was a tough 2 weeks. We'd had barely any practice. A lot went on.
Not a great year for weather either, I don't think.
No, the weather was horrendous, and a lot went on. Losing my best mate and my teammate Daly, and it was a whole weird situation for me. And it being my second year, and I just tried to not do anything silly and just take my time with it. And I thought, you know what, whatever lap time comes.
That's what it is.
And I went out in that senior, and I couldn't believe it when I come back in and the guys went, "You did a 130-mile-an-hour lap." And like a few of them were stood there, my mechanics, and they were like over the moon at the 130. I finished P6, almost had P5 if it wasn't for a bit of trouble in a pit stop. And then another couple of the guys from the team come running over and they're like, "How do you feel?" And I was like, 130, yeah, it's over the moon. They're like, "No, you did 131 on the last lap." And yeah, I just even more can believe that.
Yeah.
I still don't feel like I'm pushing. I just wanted to let it come to me, and I repeat over and over again, like the same thing, what John Burroughs said to me in my first year, treat it like a Sunday ride. And I wanted to do that for my first few years and just take my time with it. And the lap times just seem to be coming. So I'm just going to keep doing that. And it seems to be working out. I'm not scratching, I'm not pushing, and the lap time's coming. So.
Yeah. And obviously we've had lockdown, no racing for 2 years, but there was a deal that you signed with Honda Racing UK. Do you think, clearly now you're wearing a Padgetts shirt. For me, Padgetts is the TT. It's the team to ride for, I think. But do you ever wonder what might have been if COVID hadn't come along and you joined Honda? I think with Glenn Owen as well, it's a bit of a newcomers dream team, really, the pair of you.
Yeah, I think it's obviously it does, like factory Honda. I think is everybody's.
Sounds cool just saying it, doesn't it?
Everybody's dream as a kid. It's right up there. What I've always dreamed about since being young. But yeah, you can't really take it like that. Obviously, it was frustrating losing a year, but it's the same for everyone. And I still got to race. I still got to race BSB, and don't really feel like I got a fair chance at it with Honda. But at the same time, back on a Honda this year with the Padgetts team, and like you say, historically Padgetts just are the TT.
Like every now and then I'll ring Clive for a chat, and he is the most infectiously positive man I've ever met. And every time I ring him, it doesn't matter what month of the year it is, he tells me how many days it is until the next TT. He lives for the place.
Yeah, the people around you in that team just make you feel so comfortable, so relaxed. There's no pressure on you, even though the team want to win more than anyone. But they're still so passionate. The guys have all been there for years and years and years. I think the guy's been there the least amount of time, so we've been there 10 years. And
they won their first race here, Junior TT, in 1971, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
It's an amazing team to ride for.
It is. It's incredible. The atmosphere is great. The bikes are incredible as well. Like, I've got Conor, an experienced guy, like a legend as my teammate. Like, I really couldn't ask for any more in terms of my surroundings and turning up at the TT. Now we're doing British Championship this year as well on top of that, and that's going well. Everything's just slotted into place now, and I'm loving it, and I just can't wait to then move into the TT in the best position I've ever been in. I feel.
I've seen you kind of be you've been embraced by. I hope it doesn't sound rude calling them the old guard, but John McGuinness has really taken you under his wing, I think, and it feels like he's kind of ready to pass on the baton of being Mr. TT to you. Are you? Obviously, that must bring a great sense of pride, but does that bring any pressure as well?
I honestly don't think there's any pressure with that. I don't feel any pressure, certainly, with that. Just to have John around, like you say, is massive for me. It's so big, and John now for a few years has really helped me with a lot of things, not just like the basic, like what you would expect of learning the TT course.
Yeah, it's more than lefts and rights, isn't it?
You know, everything else on top of that, like building a platform for moving forward with your career, at home, at the track, like everything. And John's like a great friend, but a great mentor to have. I don't think you can ask for anyone better in the game that I'm in than John McGuinness. Like you say, the legend that he is. It's literally a perfect situation.
So talking of perfect situations, there's only a couple of questions left. What does the ideal TT 2022 look like for Davey Todd?
You obviously get asked that a lot.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just improving. I don't want to still have that expectation just yet. With it only been my 3rd year, and
it's crazy to know that it's only your 3rd year.
As everybody,
and only your 4th year of ever even coming here at all.
Yeah, as everybody knows, it takes 3-4 years at least until you can start to race the track properly. And so I want to still turn up and treat it like I've done for my first 2 years, and take it step by step and just treat it like a Sunday ride. Go out there and ride it well within my comfort zone, and you know what, see where we end up. Like, as I say, I'm in a better position than I've ever been in coming into the TT, so there's no reason why it shouldn't be better. I know we're 2 years out, it's going to be a little different, but we all still know where we're going. You know, we're all still racing bikes every week. It's not like we haven't rode in 3 years or we forgot where we're going. We still know our stuff. I'm still smashing the TT game every week.
Is that what you do?
Play the PlayStation game a ton. It's great for keeping it fresh in your mind, the course and stuff like that. And on the game, I'm doing like 140 something mile an hour laps. So it's if I can ride it anywhere near that speed, I think it would be good. So,
well, mate, all I'm going to do is wish you the best of luck, and also let you know that if it doesn't work out, you make a pretty good coffee. So we should probably grab the manager and bring him in and see how your interview went.
let's get in.
Thanks very much.
So, heard you wanted to talk to the boss.
Yeah, mate, it's really good to see you. It's been a long time since any of us have been across to the TT, but obviously we're in Ramsey, your hometown, you live here. How's lockdown been for you with business?
Honestly, the lockdown was really tough for business, but we're not the only ones. I'm not going to cry about it. It was just, it's a fact, it's happened. We just had to muscle our way through it, really. It was tough, but we're very fortunate we've got good staff.
And you've muscled your way through it by expanding the business and opening a pizza place.
Yeah, I'm not quite so sure that was a great idea. But yeah, we opened the pizzeria over there at the park, so we're pushing on, just like we do on the bikes. You always want that next thing. You know?
I always like asking people that are associated with the TT what their earliest TT memory is, and it's always interesting for me to ask a Manxman that same question. What would it be?
My earliest memory would be sat just on the exit of May Hill when Foggy and Izzy were on the
92. Oh, both. What year would that have been? 92 was the big race year, the epic year, so it must have been 91.
Yeah, they both came over. If I remember correctly, they both came over May Hill together, and it was awesome to watch.
How old were you then?
Born in '86. What that may be?
5.
5, yeah, 5 odd.
And that was it. That was the seed kind of sown for you.
I think so, yeah. But I was born TT week.
That's right. May the
86.
26th. Is it?
27th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like practice week. So going through life, I couldn't not be involved in bikes. And then Dad still races.
Yeah.
At 57-year-olds
hell.
years ago. But yeah, I've always been involved in the bikes, mainly TT, and I think, I'm certainly holding it responsible for my addiction to it.
Yeah, and maybe carrying some of the weight to perform for Manx locals as well.
Yeah, I've proud Manxman and all the rest of it, and I've always got I always carry the Manx flag. It's on the speed hump of my leathers. So.
And you carried it into the R6 Cup, which commonly known as like the axe murderers.
It certainly was.
A breeding ground for common assault, that thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Some big names came through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Big names. It was seriously competitive. A lot of crashing happened. Standard road tyres, and it was chaos. But I learned a lot. And, I'm glad I did it. No regrets.
So obviously this year you're with Padgetts again. You've had a great relationship with Clive in the team before, but now obviously with Davey, the new barista in the coffee shop, joining in as well. It's interesting. It was interesting for me to see that in your newcomer year in 2006, you were fastest newcomer, and Davey was also the fastest newcomer.
Yeah.
Do you think there's more pressure nowadays because of social media and the way that media has changed in general to be the fastest newcomer at the TT?
Yeah, I mean, certainly social media is you've got an instant audience, and you can pile your own pressure on yourself really. But I think back when I did it, it wasn't such a big thing, which makes me sound really old now. Yeah, I never really put pressure on myself whenever I was a newcomer. I just turned 20 when I was a newcomer at the TT, so. One of the reasons why I went straight to TT was because if I'd have done the Manx Grand Prix, I'd have felt that pressure. Yeah. Being a local, from the local scene, it's expected. You do well. You're just naturally meant to do well if you know what I mean. So
yes.
I'd just go to the TT, fade out into the background, and just do my own little thing, and that's the way I did it. And I didn't have that pressure of you're expected to do well. Yeah. But yeah, now. Certainly nowadays, the whole social media thing's huge, and you're in the public eye.
And everyone's got is allowed an opinion. Absolutely,
yeah. Not necessarily the right opinion either.
So at the minute you're on 132.4, I think. It's your fastest lap. 100.
32 and a half, I think.
32 and a half for you, and 131 for Davey.
Yes.
Do you think you'll be able to? What do you think you'll be able to share with each other? Do you think you'll be able to push each other a little bit, share information with each other? How do you think it's going to go being teammates with him?
Yeah, it's going to be great, I think. There's no doubt about it. We are both in a great team.
Yeah.
Got a great mentor in Clive. He keeps us on the straight and narrow, and keeps he delivers the bikes.
Yeah.
They're brilliant.
For me, they're like the unofficial factory TT team. They always have been.
Yeah.
Even when they have been the factory team.
Well, we the last two TTs that we've done, we were best Honda and Superbike on the podium, and we've had great results on all the internationals really. Yeah. But I think myself and Davey will, we do very well on these new Honda Fireblades. We've been in the same team last year, doing the Brit rounds as well. So, and Davey was a bit further up the field than I was, but we were able to sort of push each other on a little bit, I suppose. And it's going to be no different come the roads this year. I think everyone else is going to be on their A game, so are we. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it sort of pans out, really.
Yeah, I think everyone is. I think one last question, and it's a fairly obvious one. Do you think there's any advantage to be gained for you in the fact that for the last 2 years, 99% of the field hasn't been here, hasn't done a lap, but you're probably doing a lap when you're driving to the shops?
Every day.
Every day you're on the mountain course. So a lot of resurfacing has gone on, and they've also taken the trees down at Glen Tramond, which even for me makes it look completely different to normal.
Yeah, they've done quite a lot of work over the last 2 or 3 months anyway. Closed the mountain, and then obviously, as you say, the Glen Tramond section. It looks wider because it's dropped all those trees. But I think generally speaking, the whole course is in good nick now, so that's all going to contribute to fast laps, I think. And I don't think the layoff that we've had is going to make too much of a difference, if anything at all. Yeah. Because there's always that 12-month sort of layoff, and it always takes
a couple of
back
days.
end of practice week before everyone gets up to speed, and then the race just goes ballistic. So.
Well, I can see the time, and I reckon the lunchtime rush is about to hit. So I wish you both the best of luck, mate.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy the racing. I'll see you out there.
Enjoy the job.
No, I think Davey's got it anyway.
All right, okay.